Have we ever asked ourselves, if one day Sierra Rota decides to fold up and cease operation, what will happen to our community? What will happen to our people? How will they make ends meet? Where will they get their livelihoods from? I decided to form Impere Foundation for Education and Agriculture because I believe that my my home has been lacking a lot of things, especially when it comes to the educational sector. We find out that the schools have to compete with, of course, the mining companies to retain or to even get the best talents. And at the end of the day, most of the teachers that they have, only use the schools as a pathway to have access to the mining companies. And this has led to most of the top teachers that we have leaving the schools and then joining the mining companies. So with the agricultural aspect of what we want to do is because we want to create an alternative pathway, an alternative job for indigenes of Imperial. Because one thing we realize that is everybody just sits down there and waits for company jobs, and most of these jobs don't come. Some will never get company jobs. They'll sit there forever. They end up becoming bike riders and so many other stuff. Of course, there's no disrespect to people that are riding bikes because, of course, they get income from that. We need them. Or we want to groom our youth, to become better people in society, to become better leaders in society. And of course, the sector with the largest employment in Sierra Leone is the agricultural sector. People are overlooking because everybody wants to go into a formal job, where they can have a coat and tie and sit in the office and make decisions. But at the end of the day, it's not all of us that will end up in the professional in the corporate office. No. So some of us have to find ourselves in the agriculture office, in the fields, in the farms. This is where we make the incomes. This is where we diversify income. So that's why I took upon myself to invest heavily into agriculture this year through my organization, IFEA. So presently we have the largest maize farming project within Bom district. But of course we want to maximize that and scale because my aim is to have the largest maize farming project in Sierra Leone in the nearest future. Where we can have our own packaging, milling and of course processing factory, where we can also have our own stores, our own delivery trucks to deliver our goods to clients, and then of course where we can have the opportunity to create jobs for more women, because at the end of the day they are the ones that have to work twice to cater for their families. And I grew up in a mining community where all of these things are very evident. You see them every day. You see women working 2-4-7. My mother was a typical example. She had to work twice what she is normally required to do so that she can put food on the table. And I learned a lot from that. A lot of other women are going through the same thing. So we have to find ways to help. So with the start of our maize farm this year, we were able to provide over 60 jobs, for young people, especially women. And of course, I think the majority of that number went to the women because I was very particular about female employment. And this is why I want to scale. I want to scale big because, have we ever asked ourselves, if one day Sierra Rota decides to fold up and cease operation, what will happen to our community? What will happen to our people? How will they make ends meet? Where will they get their livelihoods from? And another thing that we are not paying attention to is the exposure to, the awaiting climate disaster. If you look at the community, it is full of, wastelands, dumps, man-made dams. Okay, these are all from the operations of the mining company. We are not against the mining company, don't get me wrong, because of course they are providing income for the country. Of course, the The government gets huge amount of money from the taxes that they paid, and of course they're creating. Of course, I think they are the largest job providers in Sierra Leone. For over 50 years. So we cannot say, they are doing anything really that's terrible. But then, of course, we have to be observant with the climate issues that some of the activities are leading to, because extractives have to deal with deforestation, has to deal with so many unwanted wastelands. So this is where we come in as well, because climate education and action is part of the things that we want to make sure that we take into key cognizance. Because as a climate ambassador myself of the Global Youth Climate Network, which is a World Bank's initiative, I see it as a mandatory thing to make sure that I don't only put climate advocacy at the top of whatever I have to do, but also make sure that I put climate actions at the top of it. Because you can advocate, but if you're not taking actions, nothing is going to happen. So this is where I come in personally. And so what we are going to be doing is make sure that we reclaim most of these wastelands within the chiefdom and see how we can transform them into high potential lands that are viable for agribusiness. And of course, we want to see how we can have a very good relationship with the mining companies within the chiefdom going forward. How IFEA and the mining companies can work hand in glove, to implement climate projects, whether it's climate education or climate actions, through sustainable agriculture, and all of these things. And we want to give them a new life in the sense, like a change of mentality. Let them believe in themselves. Let them think that they can achieve greater things. They can achieve better things. They don't have to settle for less, but they have to be ambitious enough and hardworking enough to go for the best opportunities in life. And they cannot do that by themselves because their minds have been programmed differently. This is where we have to work hard to make sure that we reprogram what they have already been programmed to believe. Human capital development is the way forward for every emerging country, every developing country. Because if we can develop ourselves individually, then of course we can develop our communities. And this comes with, investing in the youth, because of course they are the leaders of tomorrow. So we have to invest in them, or else we are setting ourselves for doom. Because if we have a youth population, that is not empowered enough, to take the mantle of leadership in the nearest future, then we are already failing as a country.